Our lesson this week is about changing fractions to decimals, but I'd like to start off with something we've already learned. Let's go back to a basic fraction, 7/10. I've written it here as a fraction and in word form, and I've also shaded in a 100s chart to show 7 out of 10 columns shaded. Now, we've also learned that 7/10 is equivalent to 70 hundredths. We've added a 0 on top of the numerator and on bottom on the denominator, and 7/10 is the same as 70 hundredths. Our model is still the same, and if this were money, this would be like 7 dimes or 70 pennies. Now what's coming new is to write a fraction as a decimal. I'm going to focus on just 7/10 as a fraction, and take a look at this place value chart, how I put 7 in the tenths position and 0 in the ones. This is how 7/10 would be written as a decimal. Now, if I'd like to write 70 hundredths as a decimal, this is what it would look like. I would simply add a 0 in the hundredths position, and to me that reminds me of writing 70 cents as money. I'd like to focus in now on this place value chart at the bottom. Sometimes I get confused with why a place value chart can look differently like this or this. And really a place value chart can look either way. If I should back this up. Now my decimal is lined up. Notice my ones place comes right before the decimal, here and here. And I just wanted to write this first because I want you to realize up until now we've only been dealing with whole numbers. Ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. They get larger place value positions as we go back this direction. Now we're going to begin learning about places after the decimal, like tenths, hundredths, and it could continue on, and each place value position would get lower as we go this direction. Okay, so let's take a look at how 7/10 is one spot after the decimal, and here's our tenths position. 70 hundredths is 2 positions after the decimal, and we see that goes to the tenths and the hundredths. Now I'd like to come and look at a brand new decimal number. All right, this is getting larger. This we would call 7 and 29 hundredths. Take a look at a few details here. In a place value chart, 7 would be in the ones position, 2 would be in the tenths position, 9 would be in the hundredths position. If this were money, that would be 7 whole dollar bills and 29 cents. On a number line, this would come in between 7 and 8. And as a fraction, or really as a mixed number, this would be 7 wholes and 29 hundredths. Okay, here's one more example that I think would be good to just look at and take in as a model on a number line and in other forms. Okay, starting off, we have 3 wholes in our model and 75 hundredths in our model. I want to zoom in on these two number lines. The first number line is written in tenths, and they're shading it to show you where 3 and 75 hundredths would be located. It's in between 3 and 4. And it's also in between 3 and 7/10, 3 and 8/10. Now look at the hundredths number line. This is like zooming in from 3 and 7/10 right there to 3 and 8/10 right there. And it's blowing it up to hundredths position to show you where 3 and 75 hundredths would be. Okay, now let's also look at this. This is a little different. This is 3 and 78, but look where it would be on the number line, and look what it would look like as a mixed number and as a decimal and in a place value chart.